Could something be next after the Jared McCain move with the Philadelphia 76ers? Now we wait and see, but we talk through it with you. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers podcast, live from the Xfinity Lounge, along with Derek, Kyle. I'm Devon Breeze, the president of basketball operations. She's got a lot of explaining to do, everybody. Moving Jared McCain. We will talk with all of you throughout the show. It's Bree's fault. She's the president of basketball operations. She needs to explain this, of what happened with Jared McCain here as we lay out here things for you on pre-deadline day. Sixers moving Jared McCain to OKC. Picks coming back to Philadelphia. Is something else next for the Sixers? Well, we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. We will talk about the Rothman stretch a little bit later. We'll also get into a Wawa Wednesday big deal. What's going on?
I wonder what it might be.
What's the big deal here on the PHLY Sixers podcast? All of that with you here today. If you are new and just checking in with us because maybe you're from OKC, you want to know more about Jared McCain, thank you for checking in. Like and subscribe to the show. You won't be disappointed. Maybe we'll see you in the finals. I don't know. Like and subscribe to the show. Tell a friend to tell another friend that we are here as the only Sixers coverage on pre- and post-game shows and live shows here year-round right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Also, we have a new deal that we want to tell you about.
It's big.
It is a big deal. And that is an opportunity for you all to sign up to become a diehard member right there at allphly.com. Get in right now on a great deal where we have an introductory deal for everyone to check in with us for $32 for the year. This is the big game week diehard sale. It's live right now. 60% off diehard memberships. $32, as I mentioned, for year one, your introductory price. Exclusive big game week football coverage all week long here at PHLY with the PHLY Eagles, who are out there for the Super Bowl. Bo and, of course, EJ hanging out with you out there. So make sure you check in right now. Get in, 60% off, $32 for the year. All the great coverage there. All the great stories from these guys right here as the trade deadline is now 24 hours away. 3 p.m. tomorrow. It will be locked in for you where we will find out if the Sixers do anything, and that's where we lead into it. Make sure you sign up, allphly.com. You get a free T-shirt as well. All right. We got some trades that just went down. We will talk about those a little bit later. But Derek, again, for people who did not get a chance to see us with our emergency pod, we got to start with you, man. The deal, you've been crunching some numbers over there, getting some things done.
The calculator is fired up.
He's fired up. Bree, just throw us all the money right now for the duck and the tax in the jar because we're going to need it. Just throw that money in here. The trade details. Jared McCain goes to OKC. The Sixers received the 2026 Rocket first-round pick. Rockets will be a playoff team, so we'll see how that plays out. 3 second-round picks from in the deal with OKC. For the people who did not see our emergency podcast, your thoughts?
I mean, I think it is, on its surface, getting a first and 3 seconds for someone like Jared, who's been out of the rotation, is fine value. I don't like selling on a player that showed some promise at the bottom of his value, and I feel like that's what we're doing here. To me, whether or not it's a good trade or a bad trade really comes down to what's next. Yep. Is this we want to duck the tax and get a late first-round pick from the Rockets? I think you're probably not going to end up getting a player who is as good as Jared, or at least has as much potential as Jared. So I don't really like that. It's not one that I'm probably going to burn the building down but I don't necessarily love it. If this is something to set up a subsequent move, either a bigger, trade over the next 24 hours because you have an extra draft pick to trade, could even be I'm not even going to entertain that right now. Could theoretically be a trade at draft time. That's far away. Hopefully we don't have to wait that long. Or it could even be just something small like, maybe signing someone off the buyout market. That could end up being, because you have to stay under the first apron. If you do that, the Sixers are up close to it. So if that ends up, there could be other ways that could be a subsequent move. But I really do hope this is to set up the next move, whatever that next move is. Because I do, again, there's certainly a world, and Jared McCain has some people who really believe in him and some people who thinks he's never going to amount to anything. And there's certainly a world where he never develops into a capable enough defender to be in a playoff rotation. I'm not telling you Jared McCain is going to be great, but I do think he showed enough promise where I have more intrigue in what he will become than I do in what the Houston, 25th pick in this year's draft will become. So I do hope there is a subsequent move coming.
So I can see all the angles to justify a move like this. Number one is how we're headlining the show. Is this a precursor to something bigger? If you get a first round pick and extra seconds and you can parlay all of that or all of that plus other stuff and get a big fish, make some kind of big move here, obviously that would be understandable for the cost of trading a guy who frankly was probably not going to be in the playoff rotation, is not even really in the regular rotation unless Quentin Grimes is playing poorly or somebody else is hurt. That's the only way that Jared McCain's been getting on the floor. The other part of it, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, I think there is a gulf or a gap between how the Sixers viewed and valued Jared McCain and where a lot of people thought Jared McCain's value was, which is to say he has never been spoken about over the last 6-8 months as a guy who's a core piece of this team. And if you're just playing the odds and the number game and you say, even if they make no other moves, you get a pick in the first round this year, maybe you can draft somebody who's more of a positional fit. It's supposed to be a really, really good class. That might cause some guys in the back half of the first, by the way, to go back to school, and that'd be the case against it. But you could find some rotational players roughly equal to Jared McCain's value, which right now is bench player. He is a bench guard by definition. He will be a bench guard in OKC, assuming he plays there at all. He's going to be a flyer for them, I would imagine. So those are reasons you can sell yourself on this trade. The tough part is what it's being spun as right now, the messaging that's floating around out there, which is the financial flexibility angle. That I'm not walking across that bridge.
Yeah.
You can't sell me that because they had a million ways that they could create financial flexibility. You could trade Andre Drummond. You could trade the minimum salary guys.
We literally had a podcast like 2 days ago where we talked about ways they could get under the luxury tax and convert Barlow without doing anything destructive.
Derek, they literally have a guy on the roster we refer to as
a
Coach
coach,
Lowry,
yes.
who is not playing. Eric Gordon not playing. Obviously, it would cost something to dump those guys more than likely, rather than in this case, you're getting value back and it's opening up. I almost guarantee you, we will hear the words optionality from Daryl Morey after this deadline is closed. So I can't stomach it, and I know the fans can't stomach it if it's strictly a salary move. So what I would say to you is right now, we got to play the waiting game a little bit. We have to see how the other things unfold here over the next 24 hours. So keep your pitchforks close just in case is what I would say for now. But I suspect that this is trying to set up something bigger. I'm just not sure what that is yet, because it's one thing I will say about this Sixers front office. When they actually have made trades, there has been very little buildup.
Yes.
This has not been a group like the Colangelo era that is actively leaking and hearing lots of things.
The Sixers get leaky when they feel like they have a narrative to control, like James Harden wanting out or them dangling Ben Simmons. They don't get leaky when there's trade discussion.
Yes. They have been very good at keeping things close to the vest. I'll give you a few examples. The DeAnthony Melton trade, that came basically out of the clear blue sky. Nobody had any kind of intel on that leading into it. The James Harden trade, Brian Windhorst got wind of that one, no pun intended. But even up to the day of the deadline, the most plugged in reporters on earth were like, this is nonsense. This isn't happening. That was mostly what we heard here locally as well. And then they made the James Harden trade. Like, they have been good at protecting information. The initial Seth Curry and Al Horford trades, those were just bang, bang. They happened. There's no build up to it. So I'm not saying this to spin this for the front office. I'm not saying this because I want you to accept the fact that they traded Jared McCain. I'm saying that to say we got to wait and see and let the dust settle, because a lack of subsequent rumors historically has meant very little to whether they're going to act or not. So I'm in information gathering mode, ear to the ground, and we're all going to have to wait and see what they do by tomorrow at 3 p.m.
All right, so everybody make sure that you, if you're joining in on the show, obviously it's because of Jared McCain being traded to OKC. Bree did put up a poll there on YouTube asking very simple question, everybody. How do you feel about the McCain trade? You just let us know there in there. And the options are hate this move, like it if it's not a salary move, meaning it's something else on the way. So please go vote there in the chat as we hang out with you here on the show for the full hour. Jared McCain on the season, as we talked about, struggled a lot. And he's had some moments, but he struggled mostly in the games that he has played. Jared McCain, 37 games played of the Sixers' 50 contests, couple of stints with the Delaware Bluecoats because of the struggles that he has had this year, averaging 6.6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists on the season. And from the three-point line, which is something that we were really hitting on with him, still shot the ball pretty well, 38%, but we watched the games. Wasn't really shooting the ball
It wasn't looking good
at
for him.
38% on the season. And that's on 3 attempts a game where he played, as far as the minutes, Jared McCain on the year. He averaged 17 minutes a night for the Sixers. And they would try to force him on the floor for the season, try to get him out of this funk that he has been in. As we mentioned, sending him down to the Bluecoats to get him some run. And Kyle, even when he was sent down to the Bluecoats, he never really went off. He never really had those moments.
No, in fact, the last trip, he played terribly. And I thought, so I brought up earlier, Devon, that his agent was in Philadelphia for an extended period recently. Saw him at the games. He's keeping a close eye on his client. And now that he's traded, I'm looking at different situations and thinking,
playing things back in your mind a little bit.
I'm thinking, like, was there something else there? So one of the things that jumped out at me, you remember he played the one game in the G League in Indiana. And then they recalled him after he had a bad game, brought him back to Philly. And Nick Nurse's explanation was, well, we're down other guys. We need reinforcements. And then Jared didn't play at all. To me, that feels, in hindsight, like an agent thing where Jared looked so bad in that G League game that you protect your client and say, he's not going to play down there. And like, I think that would be smart if that's what happened. I don't know that that's what happened, but I'm sitting here like, maybe that would make more sense than saying we need reinforcements and stapling him to the bench for the rest of the game. I wonder if there's some chicanery that was going on behind the scenes there.
You are like one injury to Maxey and VJ away from playing like Kyle Lowry.
Listen, it is going to get spooky here if anybody gets hurt. I would also say, in conjunction with all the stuff about, where did he fit in? Why did they give up on him? I think the easiest place to go is to say, when they drafted Jared McCain and Jared McCain had the start that he did to his Sixers career, they weren't expecting to get the number 3 overall pick. They weren't expecting to get a guard who is a much higher caliber prospect, frankly, is just a much better two-way player and two-way fit. That was something that in all the plans, all the future stuff, there was no way at any point up until the point that they threw away the season tanking to try to save their pick that they ever would have thought about, hey, we're drafting a guard soon and we're drafting a top 5 guard that's going to minimize McCain, Grimes, whoever it might be. So that changed everything. The VJ pick and the draft, being that high in the draft, changed everything for this organization. It changed, how they're going to build around Maxey moving forward. It changed their priorities in terms of team building. When you hit on a guy like VJ to the degree they did, now you have to start thinking about how do we best assemble the roster around these guys. I do think shooting matters, by the way. The fact that they just traded away one of their only guys that you really believe in as a shooter is very worrying to me. Set aside the Lowry minutes and the guard minutes that they're going to have to figure out here. I don't like how little shooting is on this team right now, but I think it was a numbers crunch and somebody was going to go. Jared turned out to be the guy to go.
All right, we're going to take our first pause here on the show. When we come back, as Kyle just talked about, we'll get Derek's thoughts. Why is this? Of course, it's the trade deadline. So why is it happening now? It's the trade deadline. So you have to do it by 3 p.m. tomorrow. But why now? This was looked at as a strength coming into the season. The 4-guard rotation that they were going to have, whether VJ Edgecombe got off to the start that he did or not, it was a 4-guard lineup that you liked and wondered, man, could this really help the Sixers out and put them over the top? They're going to be terror for the other teams. Well, it did not happen. As Kyle said, what changed? We'll get Derek's thoughts. We'll get your thoughts in the chat. Make sure you vote there. Everybody jumping in, like and subscribe, hit the like button, spread the word. We're hanging out with you, talking about Jared McCain and the other things, the other 1,000 trades that happened in the NBA, including today. We'll get to all of those when we get back right here. Trade deadline show, pre-show. It's the special right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
And guys, everybody's got their favorite hard tea. You might have to turn to one today, depending on if you're a big Jared McCain fan or not. But if you ever turned around the can to read what's in it, you can't because they don't tell you while they hide what's inside. Crooked Tea is bragging about it. Crooked Tea brews real USDA organic tea for real flavor with zero sugar. There's no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. You know, Zach Lowe is very famous for his, after the trade deadline, he has exactly one beer. I think I might have to have exactly one Crooked Tea after the deadline passes tomorrow. But the next time you're at the store, flip the can. If you can't find the ingredients, just put it back. Grab a Crooked Tea, zero sugar, real tea, fully transparent. You know it, Philly. Real recognizes real. So I drink the fake stuff. Crooked Tea. The only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find it in a store nearest to you.
And folks, I got to tell you about the great people at Parx Casino and specifically the Excite Center, where it's very, very cool to hang out. The Excite Center at Parx Casino is one of the many things that I love about my casino of choice. Parx Casino is Pennsylvania's #1 casino of choice and is very close to Philadelphia, located in Bensalem. All you have to do is take the Street Road exit off of I-95 and the PA Turnpike, and boom, you are right there. The Excite Center, the state-of-the-art entertainment venue located inside Parx Casino. Named one of the best places to see the country's best music headliners and the comedians I've been telling you about. Tracy Morgan in March. I'm going. Are you going with me? Are you going to be there with me so we can hang out and have some laughs and look and hustle, man? Tracy Morgan right there at Parx Casino. How about this week? Alan Cumming, Uncut at Parx Casino. 8 p.m. start on Friday right there at Parx Casino. So if you are a fan and you want to be there, go ahead, hang out at the best place to do so. ParxCasino.com to get your tickets for all the shows. Parx Casino, this is how you win. Must be 21 and over. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I didn't know Alan Cumming was coming to
Friday.
The Parks. I've been watching.
off
You've
night.
seen that show, Traders?
No.
It's great. That's an off-show discussion. This
Okay.
is a more serious show, but it's some good
laughs.
reality TV slop. We'll call it that.
I do like Alex Cumming. So we'll Alan Cumming, we'll see you there at Parx Casino. Go ParxCasino.com to get your tickets if you want to hang out. It's an off night for us. No Sixers that night as well. Maybe go have a little night out, and hang out there at Parx Casino. All right, make sure you hit the like button, like and subscribe, everybody. Like and subscribe.
Welcome
to
into
the
all
show.
our new friends. We're going to talk about the Sixers today.
A lot of people in there, a lot of Jared McCain fans in there, and you're wondering what's going on with Jared McCain. You came to the right place to hang out with us here. Hit the like button, like and subscribe, and make sure you sign up to become a diehard member, allphly.com. $32 intro offer right now for the big game. It's a big game intro offer at allphly.com. All right, let's talk more about Jared McCain. Obviously, Derek, why didn't it work, though? Of course, the injury that Kyle talked about, coming back from the injury, all the shooting just wasn't there. The four-guard rotation, that was supposed to be a plus for the Sixers coming into the year, and it turned out not to be the case.
I mean, I will push back a little bit. I don't think this is just about VJ and drafting VJ, because quite frankly, we're looking at this team and what we thought was going to be a four-guard rotation. You've traded one, and you have less confidence in Grimes being an actual contributor than you did coming into the season. You are short on guard depth right now. If Jared McCain was playing like he was during that 20 games last year, I don't think you have a problem having too many guards. The Jared McCain's future in Philadelphia, to me, always rode down to, 1, was that 20-game sample real?
Yeah.
2, could he get back from the injury? And 3, could he play and hang defensively in the playoffs alongside of Tyrese Maxey? We don't really have an answer to any of those questions right now, but if you believed in them, then I think this is a short-sighted move because, quite frankly, you have enough minutes to play 3 guards heavy minutes. I think there's one of 2 explanations here. Either A, they've lost complete confidence in Jared as a long-term piece, and they just want to get whatever value they could, or they're trying to set up something in the future. In terms of why this didn't work out this year, look, we've been talking about it all year that this could end up being a lost season.
Yeah.
And, he's shown flashes, but up until he's looked a little better physically lately in the last 2 weeks or so, up until that point, he just didn't look physically like he was at the spot where he was. I think if this is, I just lost all faith in Jared McCain, and I think it is a little bit short-sighted because I do think these injuries can take you. We've seen with Joel directly.
Where's Hedfa? We need to hit it's a 2-year injury button.
And I hope they're not just trading him at the nadir of his value when there's a 2-year recovery timeline on this. But like I said, I think for the most part, if Jared had proven that he could defend next to Maxey, and I think that's still a very legitimate question mark. His defense has been pretty bad. I generally think he's a smart defender, but physically he's overmatched. It's come down to that, and was last year real? And I still believe that what we saw last year, he has that talent. It might not showcase itself this year. It might be something where OKC has to wait until next year. But if this is purely on he struggled this year, then I think it's pretty short-sighted.
I agree, because I think no matter what you think about how he's played this season, and he has not been good, I've said many times, I thought Nurse gave him more rope than he had earned with his play on the floor. Whatever you think of this season, I think everybody believes he's a better shooter than he was for most of this year. And he's still, because of the recent hot stretch having not played, he's still at that 38% number from three. And he's a different type of weapon as a shooter than Quentin Grimes is a guy that you can give him the ball in catch and shoot situations and maybe he'll have a 2-for-5 game, but that's kind of it, right? There are very few of those burn the house down type of performances, where with Jared, the ceiling is super high. He can put together a 6-for-7 game from three. He's a transition shooting weapon. He's a relocation weapon. He can come off movement. He's a pull-up guy when he has it working. It's just a different level of shooter than their other depth guys and their bench guys on this team. And I think where it hurts for me is you go into the playoffs and you just got to dust somebody off who hasn't been in the rotation and has a game like Buddy Hield did against the Knicks in Game 6 a few years back. Mm-hmm. They don't really have that guy. Quentin is going to play every night because he's one of their best two-way players. But there is no, is it Justin Edwards at this point? And I don't think his shooting talent is near McCain's. He's a pretty good shooter, but he brings a lot of defensive question marks himself. So I just think you lose off the bench scoring punch that isn't being replaced unless there is a subsequent move. And I'm lower on McCain. I've been lower on McCain than a lot of people coming into the year. But I still think I would be pretty upset if all this ends up being is you're creating the salary flexibility to convert Dom Barlow. I really like Dom Barlow. I'm glad that it is such a priority to get him on the contract that they're hoping to get him on. I don't think you needed to trade Jared McCain. In fact, I know you didn't need to trade Jared McCain to accomplish that.
Run the numbers.
The primary difference is this is probably the lone salary dump move they could make that wasn't going to cost them something, that they actively got things back for Jared McCain. That's the only difference.
And even still, if that is the logic, which I think there's a chance it is, hopefully the logic is we can use that pick in a future move, whether that's at the trade deadline or at the draft. But theoretically, I think that logic of this is the one salary dumping move where we can get assets back rather than giving up could possibly be rationale, in which case I don't like it. Because if you ask me, you have two options. You either have Eric Gordon on the team and you gain a second-round pick, or you have to spend a second-round pick to get rid of him. No, how am I saying this? Either you trade Eric Gordon and a second-round pick, or you trade Jared McCain and get this draft pick back. I would rather have Jared McCain on this team than I would Eric Gordon and that Houston pick.
Because you have an active body that you believe in.
And I just don't value that individual Rockets pick too highly.
Right.
If it's not for trade flexibility.
Yeah, and look, the one thing that we've been saying all year is he's going to have his moments, but he's also going to struggle because of coming back from the injury, as Kyle mentioned with Hedfa and how he feel. Let's also remember our conversation with Tim Legler a couple of weeks ago where he kept saying, this is going to take time. Mm-hmm. He is a shooter. He needs that lower base to feel comfortable, to have that confidence to take the shots that we saw him make all of last season in the 23 games that he played, playing above what maybe they even thought, and is it real? Now, the other side of that is they see him every day, and maybe they just felt like it wasn't going to happen. I don't know. We don't know yet, and we have to sit and wait around. But I always went back to what Legler said as a shooter and allowing him to get back to that place. Having the games that he's going to have every now and then where he has a 3-4 game stretch where he looks good, but then there's that 3-4 game stretch where he doesn't look good because it's not going to be a complete comeback right away of what the player was that we saw a season ago. So to give up on that right now and that shooting, and then even to hear when he had the big game before they left, I think it was against the Pelicans, and both he and, as I had his stats right here, where both he and Joel talked about, he had the 12 points, he shot 4 for 7, he was 4 for 6 from 3. Mm-hmm. And he and Joel both talked about their chemistry on the floor, the synergy that we wanted to see last season, we couldn't. Number one, because Joel wasn't there. And then when Joel was there, it was very rare that he was on the floor in the 23 games that McCain played. And while this all played itself out the way in which it did, I think it's still there. And then you look at the OKC side of, man, he's going to go there, and we talk about player development and giving him some time where he doesn't have to be on the floor right now because of the players that are in front of him. They can give him that time to rehab if they keep him and allow him to get his legs back underneath him. And he's just going to go over there, and Sam Presti believed in what this is, and he's going to go make shots just like Isaiah Joe 2.0, as some people were calling it, because of where he landed. I think it's still there. The kid is talented. When we did our draft evaluation before he was drafted 2 drafts ago, we all liked him for the reasons that we did. We all had questions for the reasons that we did. And then he took that away because he came in and he just blazing hot with the shooting, the ability to put the ball on the floor, the creativity as a smaller guard with the scoop shots, both off with the right side of the floor with the normal layup package, but also the scoop shot off the wrong foot and getting them the creativity of scoring around some of those bigs there. It was just some fun stuff to watch. He was never really going to be a shutdown defender. It was the effort that you ask for. And when he wasn't making shots early, we applauded him for his effort on the defensive end because he was still doing things to help out. And that's where I would not have given up on the guy. I think he still has it. And when you do talk about one guy that you can count on to shoot, even though the shot wasn't falling right now, that's what he was known for, the shooting. Tyrese Maxey, him for sure. Where's everybody else going to fall in line? Paul George, of course, but he's suspended right now. Everyone else, I hope he makes that shot where Jared McCain, you felt good that whenever he rose up for a shot attempt, that was going in. So I would have kept him in. I would have liked to have seen him continue in the Sixers uniform. There better be something else happening when it comes to Jared McCain, because a lot of people voting in the chat right now, and certainly the chat coming down with how people feel. This is not a popular move by the 76ers. And I enjoyed that too, because there was a lot of people when he was drafted that were like, yeah, he's too small. I don't like it. I get the profile. He can shoot the basketball, but I don't like it.
Oh, listen, yeah. We were a little baffled at the time.
He turned fans around. He got support from the Sixers fan base, and he did that by making those shots and being a guy that competed, gave effort on the floor, even in that small body frame that he had, where he went out there and he did that. He was himself, and people ultimately turned out to like him.
And by the way, on top of all the injury-related stuff and how that complicated the picture for him, he also was a slow starter at Duke, which people that we're so far removed from that now that nobody thinks about it. I think he had like 2 double-digit scoring games in his first 10 games at Duke, and that's a place where he's one of the featured guys. He was a big-time recruit coming out of high school. He's someone that they're handing the ball, they're allowing him to run the offense. And he struggled early there because, again, he is not the biggest guy in the world. He's not the most athletic guy in the world. And when you jump up levels and you're dealing with adversity, there is a feeling out period. So I think what happened this year was a spin-off of that, you would say. He comes back. He's a bit physically compromised. He didn't have a training camp in preseason. He also had the hand injury. Like, we haven't even talked about the hand and how that would impact shooting and, your feel for the ball. He was wearing I'll just call it a device on his hand early in the season to stabilize his hand. So there are a lot of things working against him early that explains the early struggles. Now, none of this means that he's going to go to OKC or anywhere else for that matter and be, Steph Curry light, right? He's not going to be JJ Redick or whatever. Like, nobody knows what his future is going to bring. But to echo something that Derek said, if this is strictly a sell low because you're panicking over what you saw this year, that's a misstep. If this is more about setting up moves, trying to balance out the roster, looking for opportunities to maybe make a move for a power forward or a switchable wing or whatever it might be, that's an argument and that's a reality I can accept. If you're just giving up on him because it's been a slow start this year, I pretty much reject that premise. And I think that similar to when they gave up on Isaiah Joe, turned into a very good rotation shooter for the Thunder, I think they will live to regret it if that's all this is about.
Hey, good chance there's Jared McCain NBA championship in the next couple months.
Hey, maybe you'll get a ring.
Maybe he does. All right, let's take our second pause of the show. When we come back, it's the Wawa Wednesday big deal. What does this mean for the current roster at the moment until we know what's next? Quentin Grimes, Don Barlow, all of that. The Wawa Wednesday big deal. On the other side, Jared McCain traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Vote there in the chat here on the YouTube side of things. We appreciate the interaction. Like and subscribe to the show. When we get back, the Wawa Wednesday big deal here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. What kind of dreams did you have when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? Did you want to be a store owner? Did you want to be a doctor? Maybe a professional athlete? Well, I wanted to be a professional athlete. That did not work out, but that's okay. But I also wanted to be a store owner, and I wanted to own my own sneaker store. Well, while I haven't done that, if I did want to now start selling them online like you see so many do, Shopify would be the place for me to do that. And Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Shopify even powers the PHLY merch store right here on a daily basis. Shopify has you covered with the website creation, product descriptions, email, and social media marketing, and much more. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business ideas into cha-ching. That's right, with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today. Shopify.com/AllCity. That's Shopify.com/AllCity. Cha-ching. Gotten a little cold outside and those joints are tightened up. The back is aching a little bit and you don't want pain or injury disrupting your routine. Getting the right care shouldn't be a hassle either. Rothman Orthopedics, they make it easy with convenient office locations throughout the region, plus walk-in and urgent care centers when you need help fast. And I got to tell you, I'm proud to tell you that Rothman proudly serves the communities across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida with 30-plus convenient offices, urgent cares, and walk-in centers as well. Whether it's a new injury or something that's been bothering you for a while, expert orthopedic care is right around the corner. Schedule your appointment today at rothmanortho.com/PHLY. Don't let all of your joints freeze up on you. Get it checked out so you're not experiencing any pain and you can get helped out at Rothman Orthopedics. Your mobility, our mission. Back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast, Derek Kyle. I'm Devon Bree, the president of basketball operations. All of you in the chat, thanks for joining us. And let's get to the Wawa Wednesday big deal, everybody. Make sure that when you are up in the morning, running, forgot your food, forgot your coffee, you need something, you need some fuel. From 5 to 11, limited time on a daily basis.
The
Wawa.
big breakfast deal, Devon.
Any sizzly, any hot or iced coffee, and a hash brown. Costs only $5.
$5, I get my bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant, sizzly.
$5.
Beautiful stuff, baby.
Right there, Wawa, from 5 to 11. Make sure you check us out and somehow get yourself a mug like we have here on the show. All right, let's talk about what's next for the team before the trade deadline comes to a close, because we don't know what's next. But what's next in terms of the current roster? They don't play a game until after the trade deadline, and that's tomorrow night in Los Angeles against the Lakers. We'll be here pregame, 9:30 on the PHLY Sixers pregame show. But what's next, Derek, for Quentin Grimes? if nothing else happens, what does this mean for him? Could there be something Kyle mentioned a little bit earlier with the agent in town for Jared McCain and all? But could this mean that Quentin Grimes maybe sees a bigger role for him, not worried about Jared McCain now behind him? Opportunity for him to sign a deal and all.
Just what Quentin Grimes needed, more confidence and less competition.
Yes, he did.
Well, it does impact the trade deadline a little bit because, right, in order to trade Grimes, you needed him to waive his no trade clause.
Like James Harden.
If he sees he's an upcoming unrestricted free agent. If he says, oh, I'm going to get a ton of minutes in Philly and get the ball quite a bit, he's not waiving that no trade clause to go somewhere else. So yeah, I think it has a small impact there. Probably it impacts the Sixers a little bit on their desire to bring Quentin back in the summer. Although, quite frankly, his play has cooled that a little bit. They are at a spot now with Quentin disappointing a little bit this year, with Jared gone, that I legitimately think going out and getting another guard should be a priority either at this deadline or in the summer. I think they could use some guard depth right now.
Even if it's not the deadline, but also in the buyout market potentially with some names that might be available that would you also see them wanting to see them address it there if they don't do anything by 3 p.m. tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, the buyout will depend on what happens in the next couple of days, but one of the benefits of it, especially if this is one of a number of salary dumping moves, like Eric, like Kyle, not this Kyle,
What?
Kyle Lowry, then you could have enough room to sign someone
As long
else.
as they buy me out, I guess.
Because again, if that's true, it's not like you're getting fired. Calm down, you'll be safe. It's one thing if you use your non-taxpayer mid-level, you get hard cap the first apron. Now you can use that non-taxpayer on a buyout. You can use that non-taxpayer even to acquire a trade. You can take somebody back in a trade now with that non-taxpayer. You could use that to get Barlow on a 4-year deal. So maybe with this flexibility, if it's then doubled down with flexibility you gain from Lowry, from Gordon, it could lead to a couple moves like that. Yeah.
I would love to see them be aggressive and get a guy who is an ascending player and is a better positional fit. I'm going to throw a name out there that we've discussed on the show that many people who watch regularly, they're fans of this guy. Tari Eason in Houston is an example of what I'm talking about. So there's been reporting out of Chicago. They've been pursuing Eason. They've been rejected by the Rockets over and over again. The Bulls have apparently been on the phone and they pick up and just say, leave me alone. But they also have interest in Drummond down in Houston, reportedly. So if you can say, hey, we'll trade you Andre Drummond. Tari Eason's only making about $5.6 million. He's a restricted free agent coming up, which I don't know if you want to pay him or how much you want to pay him.
You just paid Jabari Smith a lot of money.
That's a problem for down the road. But you say, all right, Steven Adams is out for the year. You want some front court depth. We'll send you Drummond. That's the contract matching. We now have an extra first to play around with. Maybe you throw a first and a couple seconds out there and you say, Tari Eason can be a starting caliber power forward who this year is shooting the lights out. I think he's shooting in the 40s. I don't think I would expect Tari Eason to be a 40+% three-point shooter. But his whole sales pitch as a player, a prospect coming into the league was he defends his butt off. He blocks shots. He creates steals. He rebounds. You put that type of player at the 4 as a starter, and he eventually is a long-term shooter, you hope. That's a guy I will go to the mat for, and I'm going to play heavy rotation minutes in the playoffs, can start, can play in all kinds of different lineups. I would be kicking the tires on that if I were a team that was actually trying to make an aggressive move and not just dump salary. I am not sure that's the place the Sixers are at, but I would be calling them repeatedly up until the deadline, seeing if I could get something done. And
the guy I brought up, I actually brought him up in the Discord the other day, and there was some pushback of, well, the Sixers have too many guards, and I don't think Jared McCain would like that, is Ayo Dosunmu from the Bulls. The Bulls obviously made a couple of trades, got some guard depth. Somebody who is a good point of attack defender. Every other year he can shoot from 3, makes pretty good decisions with the basketball. I think can frankly defend up a position better than even better than Grimes. He's got like a 6'10", 6'11" wingspan.
He's like VJ height with a bigger wingspan, right?
And he pretty regularly defends threes. I think he would be a great way to fill out this rotation. It was something I brought up even before the Jared McCain trade, and now with Jared McCain gone, I think he makes a lot of sense.
Are there any look, they have 15 guards on their roster that they need to move on from. So,
Well, there was another trade that happened as we were dealing with our trade that moved some guards around in Chicago.
So, but I was going to ask, outside of DeSumo, if you do not get him, they do have, from a trade that was taking place yesterday when we talked about Vucevic, Anthony Simons is there. Colin Sexton now moved from Charlotte to Chicago for Kobe White. We'll talk about that more on the other side. But Trey Jones is on their roster. Also, would you have any interest there if you cannot get the Sumu, just to have another guy that he's actually played all right this year for the work that they ask him for, and the 12 points on the season, 6 assists a game, and 3 rebounds as well. And he's playing 27 minutes a night for the Chicago Bulls, and he's shooting from behind the three-point line. He's 33% from behind the three-point line. But as far as running a team, being somebody that can handle the rock, can set you up in your offense, if the Sumu is unavailable, would you have any interest in that?
I just don't know if he's going to fit defensively.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's another small guard, I know, but they have a ton of guards that they may want to move off of.
It seems like Io is available from the reporting that's out there. I believe he's unrestricted, I believe, in the offseason. So I don't know that the price will be especially high on him. For me, on that team, in that group, he's the guy, because I want a guy who, to Derek's point, can guard up a position or two. And then you can throw out lineups where it's like VJ, Io, Grimes, a wing, or maybe a big forward and a center. Those are some teams or lineups that can really get into you on defense. You get up and down in transition. Maybe you swap one of those other guys out for a shooter. Like, that gives you options that you don't have right now. And I like Io quite a bit. He is probably not, to the same point with Eason, a 45% three-point shooter the way he's been this year. I don't believe in him quite that much, but I think he's at least now a willing shooter, because when he came into the league, it was more, will this guy shoot just taking them, like taking the attempts, and will he make enough of those? So I like Io a lot. I put him in a similar bucket as Eason, although the advantage with Eason is positional fit, and he also is a restricted free agent versus an unrestricted, so you have some control over whether you're going to retain him beyond this season.
Yeah.
Remember, everybody, in order for a guard to play for the Sixers, he must pass the Kyle Neubeck height test in the locker room.
Io is 6'4". He is confirmed taller than me, so he passes the
Trey
test.
Jones, you're out. All right, buddy, you're out. All right, that is the Wawa Wednesday big deal presented by Wawa. Any Sizzly, any hot or iced coffee, and a hash brown for just $5, everybody. You can't beat that. You spend $5 on way more things that you shouldn't. Spend it on a great breakfast from 5 to 11 a.m., limited time on a daily basis. That's the Wawa Wednesday big deal. When we come back on the other side, trades happen. Yes, Kyle teased the one with Chicago. We'll talk about that. And an even bigger one. What is happening in the nation's? Well, I'm not going to say that. What is happening with the Wizards?
You're on the wrong podcast.
I was going to say.
What is happening with the Wizards?
Jalen Rose, don't get fired.
What is happening with the Wizards? We'll update you on the NBA trades over the last 2 hours, and maybe even some overnight, right here. Final segments, the PHLY Sixers, and another one that just went down with the Clippers, Nets, and the Raptors. We'll give you that.
Are you kidding me?
On the other side, here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. We had to get to a break.
Guys, I don't know if there is enough coffee in the world to get the three of us through this deadline, but you know where I'm going to go first thing in the morning, late at night too, but definitely first thing. That's Wawa, because they have the $5 big breakfast deal where you can get any Sizzly, my personal choice, bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant. It's beautiful. You get a hash brown, and you get, most importantly, any type of coffee, any size, hot or iced of your choice. That's all for $5. You can get the caramel craze flavor, the chocolate, if you're feeling like you want to spice it up a little bit, you want something sweet in the morning. The best part is, though, guys, it's 5 to 11. You have a ton of time to do it in the morning. It's tasty. It's a hearty meal to get you going in the morning, and we need those this week because we are super busy here at PHLY. So you guys know it. Gotta have a Wawa. Get that Sizzly. Get that hash brown, get that coffee, and get on with your day. $5 big breakfast deal.
Guys, we also want to tell you about Togo. Do you really want to No, I'm not even going to go there. You want to keep people doing what they're good at, okay? It's not worth the risk to have people out. Oh, no, I had to joke. I just backed off on it. Anyway, you keep your stars focused on what they do best, and the same idea applies to your business. For small and medium-sized businesses, competing with bigger companies isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. With competition heating up, you can't afford to fall behind. AI goes way beyond ChatGPT, and it gets overwhelming fast. That's why having a trusted guide like Togo matters. Instead of buying expensive AI tools, Togo helps you build exactly what you need at a fraction of the cost. Togo streamlines your operations by handling customer service, accounting, order management, logistics, admin, data entry, and even complex multi-step processes without the cost of building it all in-house. Every engagement starts with free process mapping, and Togo doesn't bill a dime until real work begins. Programs start as low as $1,000 a month and are built to scale without breaking the bank. Visit harnesstogo.com and mention PHLY for a free operational assessment.
Back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast on a Wednesday. Less than 24 hours away from the NBA trade deadline, and things are just happening. Jared McCain, of course, on the move. He is going to OKC, but there are some other things, a lot of other things that are happening around the NBA. Just the details, once again, Jared McCain to OKC. The Sixers get the 2026 Rocket first-round pick and 3 second-round picks as well. But let's start with the latest one that, just because it just happened, let's just talk about it. Shams breaking the story as we go around the NBA now. The Los Angeles Clippers, Brooklyn Nets, and the Toronto Raptors agreeing on a multi-team trade that will send Chris Paul, who was jettisoned from the Clippers earlier in the year, to the
Persona
Raptors.
non grata.
And Ochai Agbaji from the Raptors.
I'm glad you got to attempt the pronunciation first.
With the second rounder and cash to the Nets, everybody. All right, so Chris Paul, who was gone from the team for a while, he's now going to the Toronto Raptors. Help out in the backcourt there, give some assistance. Agbaji, he is now headed to the Brooklyn Nets, and it's the Brooklyn Nets. We see what they're doing there. All right.
And by the way, the Clippers are receiving the rights to Vana Marinkovic. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Sounds like an Eastern European version of Vanna White to me on Wheel of Fortune.
And Shams also reporting the Raptors will not require Chris Paul to report to the team and could still discuss trades involving him over the next day. So it sounds like he could be on the move.
Trades, all right. Maybe a buyout. Who knows? We'll see. All right. Chicago Bulls, as Kyle mentioned in the last segment, trading Kobe White and Mike Conley. Mike Conley in the trade yesterday with the Timberwolves, headed to Chicago. Conley with Kobe White now going to the Charlotte Hornets for Colin Sexton, Ousmane Deng, and 3 second-round picks. That is the latest with the Chicago Bulls, as we talked about, with a ton of guards. They trade 2 guards for another guard in Colin Sexton. Charlotte, Kyle, your preseason team to be a sleeper squad, won 7 in a row. They get Kobe White and Mike Conley now to that group. And Kobe White was also mentioned in a potential deal to head to Minnesota to help with their guard play. And apparently, based on reports, Minnesota said, we like him, we don't love him enough right now. We want to keep our options open in the event that
they want to keep one option open.
That Giannis decides, hey, we can get something done there. So what do you think about Kobe White, Mike Conley now going to Charlotte, Colin Sexton, Deng headed to, what do you think of the deal?
Well, I like Kobe White as a off-the-bench offense guy for them. And
you don't think he's a starting guard in this league?
Not on a team that has LaMelo Ball and Con Knipple.
No, I mean in this league.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the right team, he's a starter. He's certainly better than I thought he would be coming out of college. But I think on that team, it's more, hey, we'll turn Colin Sexton into him and upgrade our off the bench creates. I'm just making sure all these notifications are. My phone has been a slot machine for the last couple of days, let alone today. But yeah, so the Bulls are open for business, I think it is the headline here as far as the Chicago stuff goes.
Here they were pursuing another 38-win season.
Shout out to our friends at CHGO. It seems like the Bulls are finally picking a bit of a direction here. You dump Vooch at the deadline, and that's going to impact your front court. You have all these guards. You're open for business. Please trade the Sixers Io. Do us a solid. Give us a good guard here in Philadelphia who's going to do something different than the guys they have on hand. I would appreciate that very much if our good friends in Chicago could make that happen. Maybe I'll send a text to Mark Eversley, see what he's up to right now. Say, hey, Mark, what are you doing with that kid Io over there? It doesn't seem like much. Maybe help out the Sixers.
What are they doing?
And what are they doing in general is always a fair question.
Start, and then it just went
Remember when
again.
the Sixers were playing them for the rights to the top spot in the Eastern Conference? Early season basketball was great.
That was
good times. Sixers on a 5-game winning streak, by the way, everybody. Yeah. What do you think?
No, I mean, like, Kobe's always someone who, like, he's one of those guys who improved just enough where, like, I kind of lost interest in him because, like, he was going to get too much money than I think he was probably worth. His defense is always a problem, but he's improved. Like, I'm really impressed with how much he's improved.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a ton of interest in him and acquiring him because the cost would have been high. You worry about the future earnings. What does he have left? He's on a final year of his deal, right?
Yeah, he's unrestricted.
I don't really want to be in the necessarily giving him his next contract business. So I think it's probably the right time to move on for him, even though doing it 12 months ago probably could have gotten you more in a trade, but the Bulls love dragging it out and winning 38 games whenever they can. So you understand why they didn't.
And we haven't even discussed the biggest trade of the day yet, which is crazy.
We have 9 minutes left, Kyle.
I understand that, but I'm saying it was fun.
I thought that would take a lot longer, so I wanted to get those smaller ones out the way. And
I only bring it up because inside baseball for our friends at home, we were in a separate meeting where we're going through some stuff here at PHLY, and one of our friends in Dallas was on the call and had to say,
gotta go.
Anthony Davis got traded, gotta go, and shut the laptop. So, hey, it's Anthony Davis time, I guess.
Mavericks. Great job, Nico Harrison, trading Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis and all that other stuff, because Anthony Davis, Jaden Ivey, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum are now headed to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-rounders. Anthony Davis headed to the nation's capital, as I can say that, just to team up with Trae Young in the future. And along with, they keep George there, Alex Sarr remains, and some of the other young pieces that they have on the roster.
The best part of the trade, though, the picks that the Wizards are including in the deal, the Thunder's 2026 selection and a Warriors top 20 pick in 2030. Those picks stink.
There's a decent chance that Warriors pick will be protected because the Warriors are just trash at that point because Steph is out of there. But yeah, those aren't.
No, the Warriors pick is top 20. Well, I don't know how that you're saying 2031,
I don't think they will get that pick.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think the Warriors are going to be bad by then. So that's not going to go to Dallas. That's going to turn into like multiple seconds or whatever. So from that perspective, I understand what Washington is doing. On the other hand, it's like Trae Young, Anthony Davis, fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what to ask. I guess they just want to be okay at least and sell tickets maybe.
I'm just stunned. And look, you can't let one bad decision. Luka's gone. You can't let that. You have to go forward with what's best. That's just such in 12 months to turn Luka into those 2 garbage picks. It's whew. And again, Anthony Davis hurt. Like you're not getting Luka value back. But that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I think there were a bunch of teams that were considering trading for Anthony Davis based on the reporting. Atlanta was one that we heard talked about a lot. I think once he went down with the injury, it sounded like they backed off and were out of the picture. And I had just kind of assumed he's not going to move because a lot of the teams that would want to trade for him now it's similar to the Paul George thing, right? Like if you're a team that is good enough to want to try to win now, you need a guy who's going to play between now and the start of April.
That's the problem with the Hawks.
And so the Hawks need help now. They can't afford to have guys who are out for weeks or a month plus at a time. So I can understand it for Washington in the sense that it's been a while since they've been good. This is not really going to impact their short-term tanking, right? Like Anthony Davis is out for a while. From all indications, Trae Young is not going to play.
Yep.
And so you put those 2 guys at the center of stuff, running pick and rolls. Sarr can shoot and space the floor. And so pairing him with another big who we know Anthony Davis doesn't want to be the lone big on the floor.
Likes to be the 4, man.
The two of those guys, I think, are kind of an interesting fit. And so we'll see how that ends up working out. But yeah, I just was not really prepared for an Anthony Davis trade today. I thought that ship had sailed.
Yeah, same. Thought that was done. Thought that it was over with. Washington, I certainly didn't look at it as a destination for him at all. I wasn't thinking the Washington Wizards at all for Anthony Davis. But when you heard the reports that he and his camp had told the Warriors they wanted out, you just wondered what would happen after he went down with that extended time for that injury. And the Washington Wizards, look, I give them credit for some stuff, but I don't have faith in Trae Young. Honestly, I have to see it again because I haven't seen it in a while. And Anthony Davis, he can't stay on the floor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He just can't. And so I get who he is. I get what he can do. But can he do it consistently for a basketball team that's trying to change the culture there and change things up and compete in the Eastern Conference? I don't know. So go for it. You have at it. When you look at some of the things that were moved, like Chris Middleton is the only one that really stands out to me. Could he be a potential buyout candidate that may want to latch on with a playoff team?
I think he's pretty cooked, but to your point, he's a guy who can shoot the ball.
He still has moments when you watch them. That
as like an end of the rotation situational guy.
Playoff
Sure.
experience, right? Finals experience, championship experience.
I got to be honest. I have not watched enough Wizards basketball to know whether he's cooked or just whether the stats say he's cooked.
I do agree
to
with
Devon's
you that he's
point,
done.
though.
I think he has moments, though, where he can still provide 5 to 7 minutes, and he will knock down 2 threes, a couple of other shots, set some things up for you, and he's 6'7".
Yeah, like that's the only window in which he makes sense. Is he's like your 11th guy.
Yeah.
He's not playing every night, but if you need to dust him off and say, I need a shooter on the floor, theoretically he can do that.
Great vet where it's not Eric
Oh,
Gordon
yeah, he's not going to
Kyle.
cause problems.
Yeah.
He's gonna, he'll fit in, whatever. So, yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
To Martian in the chat mentioning it, like if the bar is he better than Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon, sign him up 100%.
He is better than that.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's around the league in the NBA. Oh, no, one last one, because I didn't even know about this one. Kyle told us about this one with it wasn't a trade. It was another suspension.
Oh.
And it's fantastic because
dunk contest
you all
participant.
know I can't stand the guy, and this is on brand for him.
Jackson Hayes is suspended for the Sixers game, by the way, so it's relevant to our purposes. Jackson Hayes has been suspended for a game for an altercation with the Washington Wizards mascot.
Not the Lopez brothers kind of
No.
fun with the
For
mascot.
contacting a mascot. And I don't mean he got on the
pushed the
phone and
Wizards
called
mascot.
Benny the Bull. I mean, he just a ridiculous human being.
He's
Just get him out of here on every level.
yeah. Go to another league, man. Go somewhere else. I can't stand Jackson Hayes.
No, and there's some worse
That's what I'm
stuff that's
saying.
out there as well. Yeah.
Move him on. Send him elsewhere and get Jackson Hayes out of here. All right, we do have some super chats that we want to get into. Also, I was looking at our buddy Jake Fisher, friend of the show. Says Cam Thomas is not with Brooklyn as the Nets are in the process departing for the game for Orlando. So is that the precursor for something that's next for Cam Thomas on the move potentially?
Who would be in the Cam?
I don't know.
The Cam Thomas market.
I wouldn't.
Like,
wouldn't
who is that at this point other than Tel Aviv or Barcelona or some overseas team?
Washington wouldn't do it.
They're trying to get better.
They're trying to improve their team, Washington. While we think about this, we're heading to overtime, everybody. Thanks on the television side. A lot of movement. Make sure tomorrow on TV, everybody, 2 p.m. start time for our show, our 2-hour trade deadline special on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Jared McCain already on the move. Is that setting up something bigger? You want to be with us tomorrow at 2 p.m. into 4, where we'll be talking about all of that and the rest of the movements around the NBA.
Can't wait to see you guys again tomorrow.
Live coverage, all things trade deadline, 2 p.m. tomorrow right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Thanks on the television side. We move on over to allphly.com for the remainder of the show. We got to hit the stretch here as well, and we got to do that as we talk about the final few games, as the Sixers are currently on a 5-game winning streak, 3 games remaining on the West Coast trip, and one home game before the All-Star break, Bree. The stretch is the Los Angeles Lakers, the Phoenix Suns on Saturday, trade deadline day, the Lakers without Jackson Hayes now, and on Monday, rounding up the trip, the Portland Trailblazers, who are sneaky competitive out there in Portland, so you can't sleep on that team and expect to just walk into Portland, especially on getaway day, final game of the road trip where so many things can happen. You don't want to slip up there. Home game before the All-Star break, the New York Knicks in town. That is next Wednesday, the 11th. And when you come back from the All-Star break, it is the Atlanta Hawks at home, back on the road for the Pelicans on Saturday, and then Sunday in Minnesota. Could that team look a little bit different?
That is a brutal stretch, man.
Listen,
the Pelicans are the only game there where you're like, that's an absolute gotta win it because it's a gimme. Yeah. The rest of those are good teams. 7
games, only 2 at home. They win on the road, but you don't want to just rely on winning on the road. You want to win your home games as well. They're going to lose some. They're going to win some. Right now, they're on a 5-game winning streak. So I'll focus right now on the Lakers, Suns, and the Trailblazers to round out the trip. You hope that they can at least, we said 3-2 going into it, but since you took the 2 right away, man, 4-1 would be nice. That would be really nice.
5-0 would be even nicer.
5-0 would be better.
Here's my thing that you always watch this time of year, not just on the Sixers end, but the other side of it. How does the trade market influence these games? So the obvious one is if they make a big trade tomorrow, and again, I'm not reporting that that's happening, but just something to have on the radar. If you're missing multiple guys from the rotation, that then becomes like, all right, now you're down several rotation players. How do you adjust? Jackson Hayes or anybody else gets suspended for pushing mascots. How does that impact you? And then Phoenix, that's probably the most likely post-deadline game for either side to be impacted by this. I think by the time they play Portland on Monday, assuming that they don't have guys take the Oregon Trail to the Sixers like Glenn Robinson and Alec Burks did all those years ago at the deadline, they should have everybody that they've traded for and converted, et cetera, on the roster and with the guys by that Monday game. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on is how quickly are these trades executed, finalize everything, medicals, people flying from different places around the country. It always makes this part of the season weird, but it's their job to, as Tyrese Maxey said before the trip, whoever's with us on this trip, we put the hard hats on, we bring the defense in our suitcase. That's all we got. So focus on what you got and let the rest take care of itself.
So here's my question. Let's say they make a trade tomorrow but don't do anything else before then. They currently have 14 guys under roster. If you make a trade that would add the 15th, can you play Dominic Barlow if that trade's not approved yet?
I wish I knew the answer to that question.
You might not be able to play Dominic Barlow tomorrow because you're out of 2-way games when you have fewer than 15 players on the roster. They currently, because they traded Jared McCain, do not have 15 players on the roster. If they make a trade tomorrow and it's approved, that would give them 15. I honestly don't know if that would make Barlow eligible to be played. And I don't know if you noticed, Barlow has been playing really good basketball and is starting once again with the PG suspension. So that's like number one. Number two is they only really have 14 under Ross on their contract. One of them is Charles Bassey. You're not really playing him. 2 of them are Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry. You basically have like 11 guys on the team right now. Even if you don't make a trade, it's going to be hard to field a roster right now. So it is, they need to get all of this ironed out. And if you do make a trade, to Kyle's point, it won't be approved by tomorrow. It might not even be approved. Hopefully everyone's good to go on Saturday. We've seen some weird stuff happen in travel with this franchise in the past. But yeah, you're taking a tough stretch. And because of timing and really nothing other than timing, it's going to be even tougher.
Folks, make sure you're with us at 2:00 tomorrow. Do you want the trade to happen when we're doing the show? That would be fun. But
it would be fun.
If that is not the case and it happens before, we will be there for you, of course. That was The Stretch presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more. If you have to go get checked out, make sure it's with our people at Rothman.
Got a couple of super chats left.
We do have some super chats. The Clippers and the Cavs played tonight.
Okay.
I think I saw Darius Garland will not
start playing the "I'm Coming Home" montage for James Harden.
Yeah, Garland won't play until after the break. They already said. I wonder if James Harden is playing tonight. Interesting. Must watch TV tonight.
played with them a week ago. They get a tribute video a week later.
Yeah, will they? All right, let's get to the super chats here. Mr. Sandman, bring me the dream. We already know that your inside source told you what's going to happen. Just spill the beans. All right, Kyle?
Sandman, I'm glad
beans.
you respect our inside knowledge enough to think that I'm just not telling you, or any of us are not telling you something because we're trying to, have fun with you up here? But believe me, it would behoove us if we had like an exact trade lined up to tell you exactly what that trade was.
I don't know how you think our industry works. We do not get money from making your life more difficult. We get money through attention. If we had a trade lined up, we would try to get that attention. You can bet on that.
All right, and I appreciate that, Mr. Sandman. Better love somebody. Love somebody. Says, go and get Sadiq or Najee. Two guys that we highlighted last week when we talked about our personal trade deadline targets, and two guys that have been playing well over the last couple of weeks ahead of the trade deadline. We'll see if there's any movement there.
Now I think I'm in a mode where I'm like, go get a better player or like a bigger prize than those guys. Because now that they have an extra first, it's like, hey, I was dealing from a place where it's like I don't know about trading those Clippers picks. Talking about an end of the first round pick in 2026. Let's shop, baby. Let's go. Let's talk about Tari Eason.
Najee Marshall said he doesn't want to leave.
He's
talked
boys
about
with Cooper
that
Flag.
guy. He said, I don't want to leave that bleeper right there because he is going to be the one, and I want to be there for the rest of his career.
Listen, watching Cooper Flag recently, he might not be wrong. That kid has been balling.
Stay there. Absolutely, Najee Marshall. And finally, we got a haiku.
A head for haiku.
Head for haiku. So Kyle, go for it.
All right. I don't know how I became the official haiku reader of the PHLY.
I think it's because
Sixers
Devon and
show.
I are too blind to see the screen.
That's probably true. All right. Head for with a haiku. Presti got Jared. Seems like patience could have worked. Have to wait and see. All right. Thank you, Hedfa, for that contribution to the show.
Stepping in there for the haiku.
And for always, Hedfa offers us lots of support. Thank you, Hedfa, for all that you do for us and all the contributions, even just using your voice.
Absolutely. Everybody, this has been a busy trade deadline, and we expect more things to happen. What's going on with Giannis? Where is he going to end up, or does he stay put? Anybody in Miami on the move? What's going on with Minnesota?
Yeah, they sat all their guys. It was Wiggins, Powell, Hero. I'm trying to think of their starting lineup last night was ridiculous.
Everybody. What is going on? There's a lot happening around the NBA, including Jared McCain once again traded to Oklahoma City, to the Thunder, where everybody is talking about is this Isaiah Joe 2.0, and we'll find out.
A quick nugget from Jake Fisher on the way out says the Mavs are still seeking first-round draft capital for Daniel Gafford. And Mark Stein is reporting that the Hawks are interested in trading for Gafford. So now that they're out of the potential Anthony Davis business, something to keep an eye on.
They were already talking to Dallas. Head on over to another player with that one now. Bree, your final poll results here this afternoon for
This ain't going to be pretty.
Your question. What do you think? Where do you lean before we throw it at
most
you?
people are going to say they hated it.
Yeah, I'm going to say 80 plus 8.
Okay. What do you got,
I
Bree?
mean, I probably could have added another specific option, but for the most part, 53 say they hate it.
Oh, that's
actually
much closer than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. All right. So, Jared McCain on the move. Is this a precursor, set up for something else, something bigger? As Kyle just pointed out, adding that first round pick, you can throw that into any deal and maybe jump in on something else. Everybody, tomorrow, 2 p.m. There you go. I was waiting for you. Yeah, go for it. 2 p.m. tomorrow, everybody here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. It's our special trade deadline special here tomorrow from 2 to 4 right here on the show. It's going to be a blast. And the first one we did when we were on the road at the Chicken or the Egg.
Chegg.
That was a fun one. Last year was the Quentin Grimes Tankathon, so not a lot of movement, but he was one to talk about. Dallas DLLS, they were in their first year. They were ticked off because of the Luka thing happening, and then you trade Quentin Grimes. What's going on? This year, though, Jared McCain today, Tari or Ayo maybe tomorrow. We will find out.
Giannis.
And we will be here with you for those 2 hours tomorrow. So everybody, make sure you set your alarms Make sure you hit the bell icon as always, but we got to get to the roll call to discuss and
Of
say
course.
goodbye to everybody. But have those notifications
roll call
on
today.
because we are going to be with you tomorrow at 2 p.m. on the show.
Devon's already
Time for the
reminded you.
world-famous roll call.
But guys, hit the damn thumbs up button on this video. It helps us out a great
Please
deal.
do.
We've had so much support today on these shows.
Man.
The more people that come in here and hang out and talk with us and support us, the better it gets around here
Dave
for
Chappelle,
us
Rick
and for
James.
you. It's a symbiotic
Come on.
relationship,
Come
and
on in.
all it takes
Come on
is,
in.
as Devon he's waving people over like Dave Chappelle, just hit the thumbs up button. It helps us out quite a bit. Thank you. Here's my version of a thumbs up for all of you. Well, maybe not all of you, but definitely some of you. A lot of names on this list today. Thank you to Hedfa, to Mr. Sandman,
Bring me a
and who
dream.
was our other
Giannis.
super chatter? Why am I forgetting?
Mr. Sandman.
You better love
Better love
somebody.
somebody.
Thank you to the three of you for your super chats.
thank
Thank you also to Phil Evans, to Presidential Mike, to our guy VG in the
VG.
house today.
What up?
Thank you to Win Forever, Jason Blevins, Keen Cobb, Martian
Cobb.
Lynch,
What's going on?
Sherrod, Marley. Here's a good one. Darkness.
Turn the lights down for...
A lot of Dave Chappelle at the end of this show today.
Indeed, yeah.
Thank you to Scott. Thank you to Freddie Powell. Thank you to Alton Williamson.
up,
Thank you to
Alton?
Densley. Thank you to Habib215. Johnny Sharp is in the building. Michael Murphy in the building. Thank you. Alex Stern, Eden
Alex.
the Remix. Paul, Phi Chi, Philly Star, Black Moses. Gabe, Greeny Green. Sean Comp, The Court Jester, Booby Styles, Code Ran,
Styles, what
Theo,
up?
Vic, my girl Nona, Val, Jess, Mom's grandchildren, of course.
Yes.
Thank you to Yams. Thank you to
ladies.
Jazz Graham. Thank you to Kyle Wright, B Knight, the Irish
What up,
Sax
Mark?
Man in the
Sax
building.
Man. What up, Sax? Play
Thank
some
you to
tunes,
veteran of the
Sax.
Psychic Wars, Terrence Knights, Phil W, KP for the brand is here. Thank you to Marcus Blackstock,
Kristaps
Theo,
Porzingis?
Vince Pellegrini, Mr. Midrange, Lost
That
Sleep
ain't-
TV, Ken Knows Ball, D Flyers, Mellow 3 Point,
Mellow, my man.
Vic, Tom Jackson, YT React in the building. Rick Sachs, Rick Morse, Rick Squared is in the building.
What up, Ricky?
The Flying Zebra.
Go get him, Rick.
Zach Blaine, Yams again, because I wrote his name down twice. We love you,
all right.
Yams. Daniel Opie, Zach Bain, thank you, everybody.
Thank you
for
all.
hanging out. Guy from VA23 who says, best Sixers team. That's because we got the best Sixers supporters around here.
Even in Virginia.
Thank you, everybody,
What
for
up, Guy?
being here today. And of course, almost forgot, Provolone John in the building, always checking in late. Thank you to our guy, our friend. Thank you to all of you. We will be back, as Devon said, with that big, nice graphic you all saw. The 2 p.m. deadline special tomorrow. Hour before the deadline, hour after the deadline. It's a spectacular. We'll have all the latest rumors, all the trades that are happening, what the Sixers did or didn't do. We're going to have a good time. So we'll see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Thank you so much for being here. Until then, stay safe. Take care of one another. Goodbye, everybody.
Giannis.
We all silly like the mayor.